Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Special guest in the studio. This gentleman goes by the name of Randy Windsor. He is a professor at Pittsburgh State University in engineering and technology. And as an aside, I can say that I've known Randy for almost 2 decades now. Randy, it is great.
Good to see you.
We were just talking, I think the first time I've actually interviewed him, because usually I'm complaining about kids or something like that. Randy, what you've been able to do at Pittsburgh State, because you and I, both being parents, we get to that point in the year where we wake up and we go, oh my gosh, the school year for our kids' age is almost over. What can I turn their attention and their focus to during the summer? You have a wonderful thing that you've put on through the university, Adventures in Robotics. And it's kind of twofold. We're going to talk about students and teachers, but I want to start with the students and why mom and dad should find this so interesting, and why kids, once they get there, find it and fall in love with it.
So we started Adventures in Robotics 10 years ago for exactly that reason. We looked out there and we said there's summer camps for cheerleaders, there's football camp, there's basketball camp, but there wasn't really anything that was an academic based camp. And so we said, hey, we've got this beautiful facility here in the Kansas Technology Center. We've got access to all this cool equipment. Why don't we start something that's an academic based camp? And so we started that 20 years ago, and it's done nothing but grow ever since. We use the Lego robotic invention system, and so this is our 20th anniversary actually this summer.
And I would like to know from your standpoint, when it comes to being a professor, in the 20 years that you've been able to do this, what transferable skills are you maybe seeing some of the, they wouldn't, not ages 9 to 14, so really they're almost on your university doorstep there. Right. in several years. What transferable skills are you seeing some of these students take out of your workshops that when you get them in college, you go, oh, this worked out perfectly?
The number one thing we focus on during the robotics camp is creative problem solving. So brainstorming, we give them challenges and we say, okay, it's kind of like Apollo 13 when they were stranded, and it's like, okay, this is what you've got to solve this problem and figure out how to make this work. And then working together as a team. So the only complaint I've had in 20 years is I actually had a young man said he didn't want to come back, and so I ended up talking to mom, and she said, well, he said you made it too much like school. And I said, okay, guilty as charged. I do want them to learn something.
Sure.
We try to push them. We said, okay, this is what you've got. This is the problem. And it's all fictitious scenarios that we've created, but we said we got to solve this problem with the materials that we have on hand.
But one thing that they're not going to have on hand in a whole lot of classrooms, I don't care if it's the 4 states or it's nationwide, it's not going to have access to the technology, to the financial backing, and to the materials that you're able to bring into this camp. Talk a little bit about the support that you've been able to receive over the past 20 years, and how it's eye-opening when kids look at, hey, they're coming out of a desk where they're writing something for today, and you're showing them what tomorrow is.
Right. So we started out, we used the Lego robotic invention system. We used one that was specifically designed for middle school age. That was kind of our target when we started this. We said we wanted to target kind of those 5th, 6th, 7th graders. The technology is really it's very adaptable to quickly building a model, programming it with the computer, and getting it to solve or do some task. And so a lot of schools use this same technology. And so we have kids in the camp that say, oh yeah, I've used this at school.
Oh, wow.
But we actually have kids that say, oh, I've never seen this before. And so that's what's kind of unique about what we do in the summer, is for 5 days they can come in and maybe see something that they've never seen before in their homeschool.
And once again, Randy is running the Adventures in Robotics camp coming up this July at Pittsburgh State University. There's a couple sessions. There's Robotics 1 and Robotics 2. Remember, you want the kids to conquer 1 before they go into 2, but it's only $115 when you register your students, and you can do that online. I want to revert back to something that you just talked about as far as targeting, because you're targeting another specialty group, and this year it's specifically teachers, STEM teachers. Is there any specific grade that you're, first off, high school, junior high through high school?
We will take any grade. So, so brand new this year, we wrote a grant that was funded by the NASA Space Grant Consortium. So the way that works is NASA basically gives some money to each state, and then each state is responsible for divvying out that money to support STEM education.
And once again, you've been doing this camp for 20 years, but this is the first year.
First year for
You've
this.
concentrated on teachers.
Right.
What's the ultimate goal of bringing the teacher into this camp? What do you want them to leave with?
And so sort of our justification to NASA Space Grant to get them to fund this is we said, hey, we want to upgrade our robots. And so these are brand new Lego Education robotic kits. This is called the Spike Prime set. It's been out for about 18 months or so.
That's it.
And we said we would like to upgrade what we're doing, and in conjunction with that, we would like to sort of plant a seed for area teachers.
Yeah.
And so we wrote the grant. We're going to have 10 area teachers. The sign up is on our website right now. Sign up is going to be based off of subject that they teach and the order that they sign up in. So we're basically taking registrations. We're going to try to notify area teachers in June, which ones were selected. And so what the teachers get out of this experience, they're going to come in and help us for the 2 weeks of the camp. So they're going to get to see these kits. They're going to get to work hands-on with area students. So it's kind of a little simulated classroom environment. They're going to get a travel stipend, $600 travel stipend for coming in every day. And then here's the great thing. We're going to do a drawing at the end of the 2 weeks, and one of them are going to take home one of these kits back to their classroom.
We're going to have a 4-state teacher who's going to be able to take the brand newest robotic technology back to their classroom next year.
Right.
Okay,
that's the cool thing.
Folks, if you're a STEM teacher, if your son or daughter is a STEM teacher, if you have a STEM teacher in your life that your kids love and adore, this is why we got to get them signed up. How do teachers go about with the application process?
So on the same website that we're taking student registrations for, at the bottom of the page it says teacher registration. We're asking them a few questions about what they teach, their sort of demographic information, a way that we can contact them, and then asking them some questions about in terms of getting them their stipend, things like that. We have to do the demographic payroll type stuff, and then we're collecting all of that information, and myself and a committee of a couple of other faculty are going to sit down and we'll notify the 10 teachers that are selected here in a couple of months.
And when Randy says he's going to notify those teachers, this is a pretty select group. This is going to be narrowed down to 10 teachers, and so that get the application in.
Get the application in, because one of the things we said is we would base it on the order that they sign up in. So one of the things that I'm going to do after all the applications are in is I'm going to contact the teachers and tell them exactly what they've signed up for, because they're signing up to come in for basically 11 days and help us.
Sure.
So we want to be sure that there's no calendar conflicts or anything like that. Yeah,
absolutely. And so once again, you don't need to memorize any long website. If you just search Pittsburgh State Adventures in Robotics, Pittsburgh State Adventures in Robotics, it's going to take you straight to Randy's page, where you can not only register your student, but also too, if you're a teacher, know a teacher, have a teacher that's been influential in you or your children's lives, encourage them to take advantage of this, because what Randy and his group have done securing this grant through NASA really shows that this is sustainable, because he's been doing it for 2 decades. Just think about what we can teach these younger kids when we actually arm the high school and junior high teachers with that education as well. Randy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Randy Windsor, he is a professor in the technology and engineering department at Pittsburgh State, and once again, driving force behind the Adventures in Robotics class. 2 decades, that's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more KOM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.